think.
Intelligent Ramblings with your host, Bill Lofton. Co-hosted by Gary Glenn and William Howington with help from John Call.
Good evening. This is Intelligent Ramblings, where we with some sort of intelligence like to ramble on, hence the name, if you hadn't figured that out yet. Got a lot to cover, so we're going to get on it right away. Gary, William,
Hello.
on my left, my co-host Gary Glenn and William Howington. We welcome you to Intelligent Ramblings. Getting on with it rather quickly. South Korea's opposition parties moved to impeach president over sudden declaration of martial law. This guy decides he wants martial law for some weird reason, and the whole damn country said, no, it ain't gonna work, cuz what we call senators in their Congress or Senate or whatever you call it over there, were crawling over the walls to the parliament trying to get back in so they could vote against this crazy bastard deciding he wanted martial law. Well, seems as though they said no with a unanimous vote and ended that idea, and now they're fixing to end the Prime Minister, I think that's what they're called, Yoon Suk Yeol, whatever. That's over in South Korea. We don't really need that. I mean, we got the big asshole up north. We need these people.
Yeah, and I think what he was trying to do was trying to put something in place in case he had to respond quickly to any kind of aggression or something by North Korea. I mean, those guys got everybody over in that part of the world really, really nervous since they decided to horn in on the Russian battle with Ukraine. He obviously made a mistake. I think he probably should have run it by his parliament or procedures or whatever they call the houses of Congress that they have over there. But apparently he took it unilaterally upon himself. And since he's not Donald Trump, everybody didn't decide to go along with it. So hence the rancor and discord and desiring to impeach his ass.
Yeah, it's not a very good idea.
No, that was a terrible idea.
Terrible idea. And going to our next story. Police hunt for United Healthcare CEO's masked killer after brazened Target attack on a New York City street. This guy goes out at 6:45 in the morning and just walks up behind him. He's sitting there waiting on him in the dark, and walks up behind him with a pistol with a silencer on it, which tells me it was probably paid to do what he's doing, and shoots this guy several times. He shot him, it jammed, he was able to unjam it and shot him again, which tells me he's good with firearms, because not everybody can unjam a gun that fast. And this guy was a professional killer.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't seen anything like this in a long time in New York.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, and Gary is gone.
That's who I got with. They better find that guy quick.
Oh, they'll find him pretty quick, I think. And hopefully Gary will be back pretty quick.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, we're going to have to go on to our next part because this is going to take a while. Trump starts. These are the Trump cabinet nominations that he's put up, and there's a lot of discussion going on. Some of them are good. Some of them you're like, what the fuck? Really? Why in the world? And this is the same people, and I've decided to talk about the few that I'm going, what? Really? That's crazy. Anyway, let's go to it. We'll talk about them. There they are. We'll go from top left to bottom right. One at a time. We'll talk about them. Got Marco Rubio up there, who Trump, I'm top left. I didn't circle him because I do have some decent thoughts about him. Mr. Rubio is ridiculed by Mr. Trump as Little Marco. Somebody called me Little Bill. I wouldn't want to be in his cabinet. Welcome back. We're talking about the cabinet members that were nominated, and we're going to go over them one by one that I have circled because what are my reservations on it. And the other one I don't have circled is the top row, third from the left, and that's Pete Hegseth, Fox News host and veteran of the wars in Iran and Afghanistan. And he has a drinking problem, according to a lot of people. I think Trump's probably pretty well moved on to him. Anyway.
Probably, although I think as of this morning they were still talking like he was going to be that, but we know how politics works, so yeah.
Oh yeah, you can't tell from the next. All right, then we're going to go down to the first one that got circled, and that's going to be Dr. Oz. I can't even say his first name. Dr. Oz, a celebrity physician.
Yeah.
Let's give us a timer so we won't overtalk it. We've got to get to college football sooner or later. Dr. Oz, a celebrity physician, clashed with medical experts by promoting the malaria drugs hydroxychloroquine and chloroquine to ward off the coronavirus, which the rest of the damn medical world said, you're out of your mind. So.
Well, Oz is a heart surgeon. I don't know why he would even render an opinion on those kind of things. Otherwise, he seems to know what he's talking about. I don't have any, and I don't think if he decides to push him through, I don't think he'll face a big pushback on this guy because he is a legitimate doctor. His opinion on respiratory thing is probably not as good as his opinion on coronary arteries.
Makes sense to me.
Surgeon
What'd you say,
General.
William?
What's he up for, Surgeon General?
He's up for Medicare and Medicaid.
Hey, he'd probably be all right with that. I don't have a problem with Oz too much. So let's move
He
on.
might handle it. All right, let's move on to Lee Zedlin. Zedlin, an EPA administrator. He voted against certifying the results of the 2020 election, and he voted against clean water legislation at least a dozen times and clean air legislation at least a half a dozen times. This guy is
like
against clean air. And he's against clean air and he's against clean water legislation, but they want to make him the EPA administrator? Really? That's the Environmental Protection Agency, for anybody that don't know what EPA means. What the fuck? Really? I don't understand that. That's a definitely WTF.
Well, yeah, I don't, you know what they'll say about that, don't you? Oh, well, the legislation had holes in it, blah, 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 blah. It's all about the fact, the reason why he's nominated for that post is he voted not to certify the election.
Yeah. But he is absolutely probably the worst person to put in there. Alive.
I don't know if he's the worst person, but he obviously has some things he needs to change.
Well, absolutely. I mean, he voted against clean water. He voted against clean air. I mean, really?
Well, maybe he'll have a change of heart.
Okay. Next one on our list is the UN Ambassador Elise Stefanik. She has minimal experience in foreign policy and national security. She represents an upstate New York district in the House and is a member of the Republican leadership in the chamber, a vocal supporter of Mr. Trump. She emerged as a key ally in Mr. Trump's first impeachment proceeding. Oh, well, of course. Let's make her the UN ambassador.
There you go.
What the hell? You know?
Well, there you
why
go.
not? What the fuck?
All of these people. Hey, Bill, all of these people are going to be Trump toadies. I mean, come on.
No kidding.
Otherwise, they wouldn't be nominated. He values loyalty above everything else.
Yes.
That trumps everything. Even minimal qualifications for a job.
Well, that UN
As long
figure,
as you're,
that's just a figurehead position anyway. It's not much to that.
Got to sit there in the UN and argue for the United States.
I'm sure she can do that.
All right, let's go on to the next one. This one is heads above anybody else as far as the big what the fuck thing. This one is like number one on my what list. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Health and Human Services Secretary. Remember this now, Health and Human Services Secretary. Mr. Kennedy, an environmental lawyer and heir to one of America's most storied Democratic families, has, or get ready to hear this part now, has no medical or public health degree. He's a vocal vaccine skeptic and critic of the CDC and has promoted these theories that suggest HIV is not the true cause of AIDS.
what does he think he is?
Who knows? I mean, you know, I don't even know how to. I don't even know what to say. It's so bad that he would, and it's because he promised him this if he would drop out of the race, and all his votes went to Trump. Not that he needed them.
You'd think that he would find people that were loyal to him that had a little bit better qualifications for some of this stuff.
No, I mean they're just so off the chart with not qualified, not the right person. It's amazing to me. I just don't understand it. All right, right
Especially
next.
well, never mind. Go ahead. Next one.
Right next to Baby Bobby is Doug Burgum, the governor of North Interior Secretary. Everybody knows what Interior Secretary. He deals with the land that's open all around the world. I mean, not the country, not the world. The governor of North Dakota briefly sought the Republican presidential nomination before dropping out and supporting Trump. This is when you got to really listen. He has long-standing ties to fossil fuel companies and was a liaison between Trump campaign and oil executives. Drill, baby, drill.
Drill, baby, drill.
Get ready for it, North Dakota. You're going to help us kill our world with this guy. And we'll skip down to the next line for our incoming, let's see. Howard Lutnick, down the bottom row, second from your right, on the third row, Commerce Secretary and Transition Co-Chair. This guy could face questions about his confirmation process, about his finances, and potential conflicts of interest. This guy's a Wall Street executive. His companies are involved in every sector of the U.S. economy. This one isn't as bad as the rest that we've gone over, but he's, you know,
He seems qualified. I mean, he is a businessman.
Maybe I can take him off our list. And then we'll go over to his right, and you got Martin A. Makary, FDA Commissioner, Food and Drug Administration. Dr. Meraki, a Johns Hopkins University surgeon and researcher, rose to prominence more than a decade ago as a critic of the medical establishment. Here's where you need to listen. He was largely opposed to vaccine mandates during COVID pandemic. If we hadn't had vaccine mandates, we'd have lost another 1 million people. Because some people just got to be told what to do. Doesn't matter if it's good for them or bad for them. They listen to idiocy and they die. Yeah, how many people have taken their last breath and said, I wish I'd have taken that vaccine? Do you know how many people would have not have died if they would have taken the vaccine early, as quick as they could? It would have saved hundreds of thousands of lives. But they didn't want to listen to that. And this guy was one of the people that was saying was opposed to it. I didn't reset the clock. We're ahead of time anyway.
Well, the jury is out on a lot of, but most people agree that although vaccines do have some side effects and some people are illy affected by them, that they've also saved countless millions of lives. So, and this one was, I know it was hurriedly put into production, but that was kind of a have-to kind of thing, and I think they vetted it pretty well. And I think you're right, Bill. I think it saved countless thousands of people.
But this guy's going to be our Food and Drug Administrator.
Well, yeah.
Scary.
Well, you know, some of these are so beyond the pale that even though the Republicans now control everything, the White House, the House, and the Senate, some of the people are not going to vote for them, and that's the reason they've chased some of these people off already.
Yeah.
So we'll just wait and see when he gets in there for confirmation hearings. It'll be thoroughly vetted. Everything.
Next one is.
When you put it,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, when you put in any of these kinds of positions here, you know, you're going to be vetted. Everything you've ever done is going to be brought to the light of day by somebody.
I'm guessing I bet maybe 40% will get through. Let's move over to the right of Makary and go to Chris Wright, Energy Secretary. Mr. Wright is the chief executive of Liberty Energy, a Denver-based fracking company. We all know what that does to our atmosphere and what it does to our planet. He has no government experience and caught the attention of Mr. Trump in part through his appearances on Fox News. Oh, we all know that's true. We all know that's reality. Fox News says whatever Trump wants him to say.
That's not necessarily true.
Oh no,
but I mean, why does that qualify you for a cabinet position or a semi-cabinet position? Just because Fox News likes you?
Fracking. You have to frack the oil, or otherwise you don't get the reserves out.
Yeah, but it's destroying our planet while they're doing it. Why don't they figure out how to make a battery-powered car that don't cost $1 zillion and take up natural resources for that as well? Henry Ford made one.
There used to be electric cars all the time. A lot of cars started out being electric cars until they discovered the internal combustion thing could make them go a little bit faster and farther, stuff like that. But come on, here. You and I and William are all old enough to remember the gas lines and the gas shortage back in the 70s, right? We all remember that. We remember that. Okay. This was all on the table back in those days. You know, how to make cars more fuel efficient, how to investigate other alternatives other than biodiesel or biofuels, things like that. And the reason we didn't do it then is one of the reasons we're not doing it now is because that the oil companies certainly didn't want it. They were a very, very powerful lobby. And the automobile manufacturers didn't want it. Now, however, because of the Biden administration putting so much emphasis on electric vehicles, now a lot of the car manufacturers have kind of turned the corner a little bit and saying, look, this may be where it's at. So now you're going to put all this other stuff back in place. Now we're going to have to retool again. This is going to be interesting the way that plays out, I think. Because you got a lot of automobile executives now that are kind of putting a lot more emphasis on electric vehicles, or at least hybrids.
I like the hybrids. I wouldn't want a fully electric. The hybrids are wonderful. I mean, you drive till your battery starts running down, and then you switch it over to gas and drive until you can go get your battery charged. Or is
Why
it
why
it
don't they have
recharge?
something that will? I don't know. I don't know how those hybrids work. Do you know where you charge your car battery by driving it, don't you?
I think you can, but I'm not sure it charges the drive battery. But I have to look into that.
Yeah, it seems to me they could find some way that could charge those things by the mere fact of you driving it, turning a turbine of some sort.
I noticed Germany's got lanes that charge the battery somehow while you're driving down the road.
There you go. Leave it to the
there you
Germans
go.
to think of it first.
Well, they thought of a lot of stuff first.
They ain't started. If they're not busy starting a war, maybe they put them in towards something that's good for the world for once.
Yeah. All right.
Linda McHone, Education Secretary and Transition Co-Chair. Major donor to Mr. Trump, former executive of professional wrestling empire that she founded with her husband.
That's Vince McMahon's. Is it wife or ex-wife now? I can't keep up with it.
Well, she did serve in Trump's first cabinet as head of the Small Business Administration, so she does have some.
I do remember that. Yeah.
I didn't notice that until I saw it. So we'll move on from her pretty quick.
Yeah. Okay.
Matthew G. Whitaker, NATO ambassador, served as acting attorney general in the first Trump administration for about 3 months after Jeff Sessions stepped down and before William P. Barr was confirmed to succeed him. This part you gotta listen to. He does not have foreign policy experience. Why would you put somebody that has no foreign policy experience and make him our NATO ambassador? Other than the fact that you don't like NATO.
Don't like NATO. No, I don't think, to this point, he probably thinks it doesn't matter because he doesn't like NATO and they may be pulling out of it anyway. Who knows? I don't know what Mr. Trump is thinking.
Well, we're the main thrust of NATO anyway.
Well, yeah, the
organization.
NATO's what's holding Russia from just overrunning Ukraine.
I think that's
We don't know
probably true.
We don't know what's going to happen when Trump gets into power to Ukraine. Those people may be in trouble. And we'll pay for it, or our children will pay for it, that's for sure. Next, Dave Weldon, CDC director. He's a Florida congressman and a physician. This is the CDC director. While in Congress, he pushed for the notion that thimerosal a preservative compound in some vaccine had caused an explosion of autism. This hypothesis has been shown to be false, experts say.
At least he was leaning on the side of conservative views. Wanted to make sure that it didn't cause that. Must have had some kind of evidence.
Well, it was wrong.
Well,
Any
a
way
lot
you
of
look
these
at it, it
people,
was wrong.
a lot of these people are thinking or tying, things like autism to vaccines and medical treatments and stuff like that. And it was a concern, but I don't think any of that has ever been proved to be a direct connection. Circumstantial, maybe. But at least he's a physician.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll give him that. All right, we're going to move on to Russell T. Vaught, Director of Office Management and Budget. Mr. Vaught was a leading figure in Project 2025, but Trump didn't know about Project 2025, and he hadn't even read it, according to him, or read any part of it. But there it is. The Director of Office Management and Budget is a leading figure in the Project 2025. So that tells you if they may be going by that. And if you hadn't read it, Google it. I got a copy of it on my desktop. And what I saw was scary. Next, we're going to switch over to Mike Huckabee.
Surely that guy. Yeah.
I'm still here. I just got some weird music that came through my headphones.
I heard a little bit of that. I don't know what that
I
was.
don't.
So Huckabee, huh?
All right. I should be back now. That was weird. Y'all didn't hear any music?
I didn't hear any.
I
I
heard a
got
little
this-
something that sounded funny. I didn't hear much anything though.
I got my Wi-Fi is connected, and every once in a while it'll grab something out of the sky, I guess, and it just started jamming, and it was kind of music that was going from one ear to the next and back to the other ear. I don't know what the hell that was all about, but anyway, Mike Huckabee, ambassador to Israel. Now, I liked Mike Huckabee when he was running for president, and I still kind of like him, but when he makes statements like there's really no such thing as a Palestinian, and argued that all of the West Bank belonged to Israel, why would you make him ambassador to Israel?
Oh, I think you just answered that question because he's sucking up to Israel.
Yeah.
But for the good of the world, why would you make him ambassador to Israel?
Well, we
We're
need
not
somebody.
talking about. They're not talking about the good of the world.
You mean, yeah, absolutely. We're trying to get those two people together, not take over more land. And the last one I got, because we're running out of time. Matter of fact, we got about 1 minute. Last one I got is I promise I tried learning how to say that. Bhattacharya, Director of National Institute of Health. He's a Stanford physician and economist who co-authored an anti-lockdown treaties during the coronavirus pandemic. He didn't like being locked down.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't. And in some places it played out okay. I thought we here in the state of Georgia came back a little too soon, but that worked out all right.
We were lucky, but it did work out.
It did. At least some of these people, Bill, even though you might argue about a certain point of view, at least they have minimal qualifications. Just another doctor. Got a lot of health related industries, don't we? CDC, the National Institute of Health, Health and Human Services, FDA. Got a lot of people that are involved in the medical field.
Big one would fix all that.
You'd think.
All right, we're going to take a quick commercial, and we're going to come back to college football.
Sounds good.
Well, we swapped sides, and we're here for college football. Intelligent college football, conference championship weekend. It is finally here.
Yeah, and some of us had pretty good weeks last week, except that one where I think we all missed that one where nobody expected Michigan to beat Ohio State.
No,
I didn't
not at
have.
all. That's the crowd cheering him, if you're wondering.
And that, to some of the alumni, that could have been the last straw for that Ohio State coach. Hadn't he lost to Michigan like 3 or 4 years in a row now?
4
this
years.
Is to a Michigan. This is to a Michigan team that wasn't even ranked.
I saw somebody posted on social media a player that had played for them and then transferred out. He said that what he knew of today was the fact that while they were getting their clock cleaned by somebody, I can't remember exactly what ball game it was, but they were getting beat pretty bad. He did not come in at halftime and say one word to the team. He went directly in the office and started screaming at and blaming all the other coaches. And he said, that's all I needed to know about him. And he seems that way. He's kind of an asshole. And I've never been very fond of it. But yeah, I think he's like sitting on a hot seat, even though he's 10 and 2, 10 and 1.
10 and 2.
10 and 2.
Yeah, he lost to Oregon.
Yeah, that's right. But, it is what it is. I mean, could you imagine my dad coming in at halftime and screaming at Coach Evans and Coach Stoudemire and not saying anything to us?
No. I remember one time, only one of the few times I ever heard your dad use any sort of profanity. We were playing at Elbert County in the Granite Bowl. And he came in and we were sucking it up, man. He looked around at us and said, we look like hell. Because we did. And then I think we shut them out in the second half and scored like 26 points and wound up a 26-26 tie.
27.
That was the days when you could still tie. Is that what it was? Wait, was it 26 or 27?
27.
27 to 27.
I just remember him coming in at halftime and picking up a clipboard and saying, come here, Freddie. And him and Freddie go back there and talk. Because Freddie was pretty much the leader of our team, no doubt.
Yeah, quarterback. Yep. Well, all right. Conference
get on with
championship weekend. Yeah, let's go.
Conference championship, here we go. Penn State at number 1, Oregon. Well, Penn State's only loss was to Ohio State, who almost beat Oregon. And it was a close loss to Ohio State. It wasn't like a blowout, anything at all, not even close.
Yeah.
I'm going Oregon. It's at
Yeah,
Oregon.
Oregon, I think right now. Now this could be proved false in the playoffs, of course, because lots of things can happen. It's all about matchup. Oregon's the best team in the country right now.
Yeah.
They're solid. They're solid all the way around.
Got a great quarterback, great receivers. You know Dan Lanning's going to have a tremendous defense. You know, I mean, it's just all around. I agree with you, Gary. They are the most efficient team in the country.
And not that's not taking anything away from Penn State, because Penn State's got a good football team. But I think at home, you got to give, on their home pond, you got to give the edge to the Ducks.
But it's not at home. It's at Indianapolis.
Oh, well, okay. But still, I think you got to give the edge to Oregon. Okay, it's a neutral field, so nobody's got an advantage field-wise.
Nope.
I think Oregon's.
I just don't think that Penn State can. Oregon's got too much speed.
Yeah, and I think offense may prove to be the difference here.
Yeah. Georgia, number 5, at Texas. Texas' only loss this year is to Georgia. And they, I'm sure, have studied a lot on this game. But I still think that we can. I mean, we just walked all over their asses the second half. It wasn't even close.
Well, you know, and the Georgia team hadn't set on its haunches either. They've been looking at some things in that game that I'm sure that they got good coaches too. They got good athletes too. It's at Mercedes-Benz, which is like a second home to Georgia.
Yeah, it's at Mercedes-Benz.
So I think I like the Dogs again, although it is tough to beat a good team twice. Now, people say, it's tough to beat a team twice. Well, if the team is shitty, it's not hard to beat them twice. But Texas is a really good football team. And it's hard going to be hard to beat them twice.
We got just about everybody back. Do you think Etienne's going to get in there? You think he's going to play?
Without that, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
We got both the other running backs back now. So we got and our number 1 running back has now come from a true freshman to an experienced running back.
Yeah, and the other thing is we finally figured out how to use that big boy at tight end, hadn't we?
Yeah. We're starting to hit our tight ends again. Carson's got over his midseason idiocy and has looked like the quarterback we wanted him this year and expected. And I think he just put too much pressure on himself. And he's got over it, and he's back on. So we may light these guys up because, like you said, Gary, matchups is everything. And we matched up against them really well.
Yeah, we did.
And like I said,
yeah, we did.
And Frazier has looked better every week. Every week. And we got both the Robinsons back. So we got 3 backs. We'll be throwing 3 backs at them that we didn't have before.
If I wanted to pick Texas, they're that good. I went with Georgia.
I did too. I went for the Dogs. And again, Texas is a good football team, and they didn't like the fact that Georgia beat them their place.
No.
They're going to come in hungry. They're going to come in. Georgia better buckle the chin straps on and play from the get-go. I don't think there's going to be any of this getting behind by 3 touchdowns or something. I mean, that was a tremendous, tremendous comeback last Friday night. Tech probably should have won that ball game, but they didn't. Georgia somehow found a way to win.
If we're close, by the time we get the 4th quarter, we can beat anybody. UNLV at Boise State.
I'm going with
UNLV lost to Boise State 29-24 earlier in the season. And Boise State's only losses to, I believe, BYU, a really good team.
Oregon. Lost to Oregon.
They lost to Oregon?
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. So only Boise State's only loss is to the #1 team in the country.
Yeah, I think I'm going with Boise State here. Playing on that blue field.
Yeah.
I don't know where they're playing.
It says at Boise State. Are they playing that, William, or they moved that to a neutral site like Georgia did?
I think
And
that,
Penn State and Oregon.
boys.
All right. Yeah, me too.
All right. Everybody going to Boise State.
Yeah.
I didn't think what John did, but we'll do it.
Number 12, Clemson at SMU. Number 8.
Charlotte.
And they're playing at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte.
Yeah. That's right.
Well, you know, Clemson's been kind of a mystery team here.
Yeah.
SMU has been pretty consistent and consistently good.
SMU's only loss was to BYU, which is a pretty damn good team. I would want to play BYU because they throw it a gazillion times a game, and they always got great receivers that don't drop nothing. Speaking of drops, did you know that Georgia leads the nation in drops?
Yeah, I heard that.
Could you imagine if Georgia hadn't dropped half as many as they dropped? What the difference in their year would be?
Yep.
I'm going with
Indeed.
SMU.
Me too.
I'm going with Clemson. I think the ACC got
William, we keep losing your video. I mean your audio.
Sorry, I'm going with Clemson.
Okay.
Williams on location as well.
Iowa State versus Arizona State in the Big 12 Conference Championship. Both both teams lost to Texas Tech. That's what they have in common.
I saw a little
They're
bit of that Arizona State-Arizona game, and Arizona State was just spanking. They were looking pretty good.
They're playing at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas.
Well, based on what I saw, I'm going with Arizona State.
So am I.
Yeah, I am too.
Number 17, Tulane at Army. Tulane's only conference loss was to a 10-2 Memphis. Army had a candy schedule and got drilled by Notre Dame 49-14.
Notre Dame
I'm definitely
feels a lot
going
bigger.
Tulane on this.
I'm going to go for the upset. I'm going with the Army. I'm picking them over Navy, too, by the way. We're going to go ahead and pick that game.
Yeah.
I'll be picking Navy on that, no doubt.
Of course you will. You and William need to fight that one out.
Go Navy! Yes, I'm a Navy vet.
Yep.
And
Who you
this
picking,
ball
William,
game,
in this? Picking Tulane?
They're playing at Mitchell Stadium at West Point. That ain't gonna help.
No. No.
But I'm
So
definitely I'm going
picking
Tulane.
Army. All right,
I don't think
got
Army
the
beat
Army.
him, but good. We need to knock you down a peg or two.
Yeah, I had like 86% last week.
Western Kentucky at Jacksonville State, Conference USA.
These are pretty similar teams from what I can gather. I'm just on a hunch. I'm picking Jack State.
Jackson State lost to Western Kentucky 19-17. and they both have the same one-loss record, 8-4.
Yeah, I'm thinking they're going to get them this second time around.
I think I took Jacksonville State. I'm pretty sure I did.
Yeah, I'm taking Jackson State.
I may change it to Western Kentucky then if you guys are going for Jackson State.
Make sure John knows.
Then the big old Mid-America Conference. Ohio at Miami of Ohio. Miami beat Ohio 30-20. And lost a close one to Syracuse and blown out by Kentucky. I'm gonna go with Miami.
That's another hunch. I'm going with Ohio.
I'm going with Miami. That blowout by Kentucky scares me. But Kentucky did have Georgia pretty close.
Marshall at Louisiana. The Raging Cajuns, the Sun Belt Conference. Marshall's only losses were to Virginia Tech, Ohio State, and Georgia Southern. Both of them, Marshall is 9-3 and Louisiana is 10-2. I'm going with Marshall.
Me too. Thunder and Herd.
Yeah, I'm going with Marshall.
There we go.
Well, let's go to some totals. Last week's Week 14 results. Gary, 13 out of 15, 87%. John, 13 out of 15, 87%. Bill, that's me, 12 out of 15 for 80%. William, 10 out of 15 for 67. And William,
I'm gonna put going with.
You were catching up and then had that week.
Yeah, well, I went with some upsets and it didn't pan out. There were some close games that should have gone the other way, but it didn't.
Well,
Yeah,
the totals
well,
for the year, you're still sitting at 70%. Gary's taking the lead at 76%. John and Bill are tied at 74%. William, you're keeping your head above water there at 70%.
At least I'm better than ESPN.
You are definitely
Yeah.
better than ESPN, any of them. Their highest grade is 68%. We can still hang our hats on that we are better than ESPN. And believe me, I put that video out to a couple 100,000 people have seen it by now.
Good for you.
All right, we're going to take a quick pay the bills, and then we will be right back with you.
All righty.
This webcast is brought to you by William Lofton Photography. They can be found at williamlofton.com. Offering event residential portraiture at williamlofton.com. Well, here we are at our finishing remarks. Got it done a little bit early tonight. We didn't have as many picks as we normally do.
Yeah. And
But,
we were down a man. So
If you ever see this and miss it, you can always go to our website. It's listed at the bottom, intelligentramblings.com, and you can see a link that'll take you to our whole show. And there's also a link under our college football page where you can just watch the college football if that's all you're interested in. Well, my busy time starts this week. I'm shooting Saturday at North Georgia College. I got 3 events there. And then next weekend, I'm out of town. And the weekend after that, I'll be out of town. My last event is like the 23rd or the 24th of December.
William and I have been involved in wrestling. William's been officiating. I've been coaching. We went to Elbert County last night and wrestled Elbert and East Jackson. Now, coming home, that was a long, cold ride in the dark on one of those yellow dogs. I want to tell you that right now. Don't want to do that every night. But our kids wrestle pretty well. Some of them actually look like they've been coached a little bit, which is pleasing.
Where did you wrestle at?
We wrestled at something called the Inferno, which is right next to the Granite Bowl.
Ooh, that's a horrible drive.
Yeah,
That's their old-
it's not good.
That's that's dodging deer country.
Yeah, and there's no good way to get there from here. It's just you're all over the back road. But we'll wrap it up. Our South Hall wrestlers, we wrap up our middle school season on December the 14th at the Hall County Championships at Cherokee Bluff. So we got another day of practice, and then next week, and then we're done. So, but I'm proud of them. They're coming along. Some of them, the first wrestling match that they wrestled in was the first one they ever saw. At least as a team. But some of them have really come along, and I'm proud of them. That's a good thing. And we've been officiating a lot.
Yeah, I was at Towns County for Raven County versus Towns County, and Raven County won it pretty handily. There are 2 single A schools there, and there were Commerce and Overthorpe, Bannon, in the region. It's a pretty tough region to go. Friday night's the semifinals of the Georgia High School State Playoffs. It's going to be cold, but pick a game and go to it. Jefferson
I'm
will
going to go.
home. And
Jefferson
Buford,
gonna be at home.
Yeah, playing LaGrange.
Well, if I didn't have to get up at Brewster in the morning, I would probably go to that game.
Well, we're going to go see my daughter-in-law's nephew play.
yeah,
Prince Avenue Christian.
at home.
Yeah, he's
Well,
the
guys,
real deal. His name is Andrew Beard.
Hope
By the way,
everybody has
let me end something here, Bill.
Go ahead.
Just, I think that we're going to get a little bit of break in these temperatures, but just for perspective, I looked it up, or I saw it somewhere. The coldest that we've ever had, the coldest day we've ever had in the state of Georgia, happened on January the 27th of 1940. Take a guess at how low the temperature went in degrees Fahrenheit.
Minus 12.
-5.
Minus 17.
Damn.
Coldest we've ever had in Georgia. We won't get anywhere near that, but it's been in the 20s. So,
Yeah,
I'm with you,
everything I
Bill.
left
Hope
outside is dead.
I'm
Everybody has
glad,
a great week.
Yep, go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
Woof, 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 woof.
Woof, 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 woof.
Good night.